Welcome back. Part 3 of our Schoology overall tutorial. We've covered assignments, we've covered tests, we've covered everything in the materials tab, overview, so on and so forth. Now we're going to try to actually wrap up everything by covering everything else that we need. Let's do it first by taking a look up here at your other drop downs. You've got groups, which is where you're obviously, self-explanatory. You, however, the normal user will not be creating groups. You could try to do that if you want and make your own groups, but nobody really does that. It's usually just something that all the kids join, all the faculty joins, and it's a place where you would see your assignments in the Home tab like we saw in the first screencast. However, what I want to focus on here is the resources. Resources is a very important thing if you want to reuse your material from class to class, year to year, subject to subject, so on and so forth. Personally, I really only use the personal resources. Public is where other teachers put in their own resources, and you can go look and see if you're, but that doesn't really help me usually because Judaic Studies, it doesn't work out. But you're welcome to explore that if you're some kind of a general studies teacher where there would be a unit that you could copy from somewhere else that someone else made available. But personal is really where it's at. So I set up my resources based on the classes that I was making things in Schoology for. And when you are making an assignment, you have, how do we even get a resource in the first place? That's the important thing that we have to figure out. So to do that, we're going to go back to my course page where I made an assignment in a previous screencast. And we're going to see that there is a little settings wheel. Here, under the settings wheel for assignments, for tests, and even for a comment discussion, basically anything you put in here, you have the option of saving it to your resources. So let's say I do that. Here I would put in the collection. This is where my collections are. Of course, now we have to go back to resources. You could also make folders, right? But of course, now we have to go back to resources so I could show you how those collections pop up. Here is the create a new collection. And basically, it is exactly what it is. You have your, for me, I did 8th grade Chumash. Inside there, I made a folder. And in the folder is where I had different things. Well, more folders, obviously. But I have different source sheets. I have other kinds of things that I've made over the years. In 6th grade, I know it's a combination of assignments I like to reuse. There was one time I gave a take-home test that I was like, hey, you know what? What if I cover this unit again this way? This is a great way. I did all this legwork. I made all these questions that were multiple choice, and these are things that I can reuse, and let's just see if that would work out for me later on. Saved it to my resources. You can also share things with other people. This is where you can pull somebody from here and share your whole resource section with them. You can share individual resources. This is definitely an area where you can explore more on your own. But it really is a good idea for you to take some time, make resource folders, collections for yourself in folders, and then over time you can just add things to those collections. And it's really, if you plan on working here, again, as we hope you will, and you are going to be teaching a similar class from year to year, this is a valuable, and yes, I'm going to say it, resource for you to use from year to year. So just going back to the courses page a second so we could round out this screencast, is we mentioned that you can add to resources, and here's where you create everything, but just look up over here on the left side. Here's where you can, in a particular class, just type a quick update. That's something that you can do. And, there's a lot of other things on this list here. We're going to actually not go over mastery, badges, gradebook, grade setup. That's not something for this podcast, this screencast. However, you do have access to members over here, which is where you can see a list of all the kids that are in your class, and just to make sure that everything is working right. You also have the Power School. You have your apps down here. This is where you can connect with PlayPosit. I added it to Schoology. You can make a video and you interrupt the video with questions. It's very cool. If you don't know what PlayPosit is, you check it out. And of course, Power School. But this is going to have to be a separate screencast. It's going to take a lot of time to go through all the different things that that you can do in this part here. And so we'll get to that in a different screencast. But that really rounds out for us all of the things that you can do from your course page with your adding materials. The other thing is once kids start submitting assignments, if you do have the submissions enabled thing going, then you'll see that on your right it tells you on your home page, it tells you that you have these like submissions that have been submitted, and click here to grade them. I just can't show you that now because the kids haven't done that. And that really rounds out everything that I wanted to tell you about the courses page, adding materials, and different things like that. We covered resources, we covered groups, and really that rounds out everything that I wanted to say here, and we're gonna end the screencast here to continue in another one.